Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. Want to win in life's challenges? To know the will of God and have more passion for Him? Practical help right now with Tak Bhana and Running with Fire.
Talking this week about the kindness of God. Wow. It's such a wonderful truth. God will never be anything but kind to you. In fact, it's impossible for God not to be kind because it's His very nature. It's a bit like God is loving. He can't do anything but love you. God is kind. He can't do anything but be kind to you. And we saw yesterday that one aspect of being kind is this thought of being reasonable. I want to ask you a question. Are you reasonable? Are you reasonable with your wife, your husband, with your kids, with your boss, with your employees? Are you reasonable? Like when you don't quite understand the situation, are you willing to be reasonable in it and not just stick to the rules and the regulations? James 3:17, wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy, good fruit, and impartial and sincere. The Greek word for submissive is eupathe, which means easy to be entreated, easily persuaded, not harsh, in a word, reasonable. When people come to us with requests and suggestions and changes, are we reasonable? Easy to be entreated? You know, we can be very set in our ways. This is how we do it here. Thank you very much. Or are we willing to be reasonable? Parents need to be reasonable with their children. Ephesians 6 verse 4 is a good one. Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Colossians 3:21, fathers, do not provoke your children lest they become discouraged. Let me give you another example of God's reasonableness in the Bible, or His kindness. Numbers 9:6-7. Some of them could not celebrate the Passover on that day because they were ceremonially unclean on account of a dead body. So they came to Moses and Aaron that same day and said to Moses, we have become unclean because of a dead body, but why should we be kept from presenting the Lord's offering with the other Israelites at the appointed time? What did Moses say? Sorry guys, you know the rules. If you're unclean, you can't celebrate the Passover. The rules are the rules. But that's not what Moses said. He did not follow his own wisdom, but he prayed. Numbers 9:8-10. And Moses said to them, stand still that I may hear what the Lord will command concerning you. Verse 9. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, if any one of you or your posterity is unclean because of a corpse, or is far away on a journey, he may still keep the Lord's Passover. God is reasonable. Now, another aspect of kindness is being kind to His enemies. Just as well, because there was a time when you and I were enemies of God, and He was still kind to us. Let me read you Romans 5:8-10. But God demonstrates His love toward us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Much more then, having been justified by His blood, we shall be saved from wrath through Him. For if when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God through the death of His Son, much more, having been reconciled, we shall be saved by His life. Jesus, when we were far from God, sinners, I think of myself, no interest with God whatsoever, never darken a church door, anti-God in so many ways, while I was yet a sinner, far from God, what? He was kind to me. He reached out to me in His great love. When I deserved judgment, we deserved judgment. Instead, what did God do? He showed us great, great kindness. If you have any doubt about God being kind to you, think of the time when you were an unbeliever with no interest in God. He drew you to Himself in His great love. You came to Christ. You came to salvation. You were delivered from the judgment of sin and eternal separation from God, and have your name written in heaven. And all that He did for you while you were yet a sinner far from God. There can be no doubt that we serve a God of incredible kindness.
Tak Bhana is the Senior Pastor of Church Unlimited in Auckland, New Zealand. For more information, to make contact or to listen again, look for Running with Fire at our website, vision.org.au. Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.